Good afternoon, everyone. Today's Monday, June 10th, 2024. We are here this afternoon for a land use hearing. I call this meeting to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, welcome, everyone. As I said, we are here for a land use hearing. We only have one item on our schedule this afternoon. It is the Gulch Fest special event permit. I'm Kristen Stevens. I'm the Chair Pro Tem of the Board of County Commissioners. With me is my fellow Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally. We also have on the dais helping us this afternoon is Deirdre O'Neill from the Clerk's Office, who will be helping us record the meeting. We also have Frank Haug from the Attorney's Office, and I will turn things over to Rebecca Everett, our Community Development Director, and she will make some introductions, and she will give us some meeting expectations, and then we will go on with the hearing. Thank you.
Great. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Rebecca Everett, Community Development Director, and thank you to everyone who is in attendance today as well. Up here at the staff table with me, we have Cassidy Fior, one of our senior planners in the Planning Division, Rusty McDaniel with Engineering, Christina Scretchens with Planning as well, and we have staff from our Health Department across the way, Leah Schneider and Noelle Udell as well. We respectfully request that all members of the audience please silence your electronic devices. Please help yourself to a copy of the agenda, which I think maybe we've passed those out already. And please wait to speak until you are recognized by the chair at the appropriate time in the hearing. We ask that the audience please maintain civility, refraining from any applause, comments, or disruptions. And please make all comments directly to the Board of County Commissioners from the podium. Please state your name at the beginning of any comments or presentations and provide the spelling of your name if it's unique. Please speak directly into the microphone so that all participants may hear. For those who are attending on Zoom, you will be muted until you are recognized by the chair. If you wish to speak on an item, please use the raise hand function on the Zoom control bar at the time when the chair asks for that. I believe that concludes the procedures for this afternoon.
Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. So, as I said, we have one public hearing discussion item. That means it'll have a full hearing this afternoon. So, that is the Gulch Fest special event permit, special event number 7293, file number 24, SPEVENT 0053. So this is a request for a special event permit for Gulch Fest, a 4-day music and art festival scheduled for July 11th through 14th, 2024, and located at 36292 North Highway 287 in Virginia Dale. And so I'll just explain a little bit about how these hearings go, and then we can hear from staff and others. So we will first hear from staff, a presentation about the event. Then we move on to the applicants. The applicants would have up to 10 minutes to be able to talk about the event. Then we would open to public comment. We could ask questions after the staff, of course, presentation. The applicants would have up to 10 minutes to be able to talk about the event. We would open a public comment. Public comment would be 3 minutes apiece, so whether that's in person, and there's not very many people in person, but there might be some folks online, they would each have 3 minutes to speak. Then the applicant would have usually 5 minutes of rebuttal if they've heard something they want to challenge or give different information about. Then it would move back to the Board of County Commissioners for any questions, and then we would go into deliberation and make a decision. So just want to make sure that everybody understands the procedure, how we're going to run things this afternoon. And are there any questions from the applicants at all before we get going? Okay, wonderful. So we will start with our staff presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. As Rebecca mentioned, my name is Cassidy Fior, and I'm a principal planner within the Community Development Department. The case before you this afternoon is special event permit for the Gulch Fest Music Festival, file number 24, SPEVENT 0053. And bear with me while I share my presentation. try that again. Nothing so far? There we go. Perfect. Excellent. Good now? Wonderful. The subject property is located at 36292 North Highway 287 in Virginia Dale, Colorado. The property is located just south of the Wyoming border. This image gives you an aerial view of the site, which is owned by Timothy Dale and Goldry Hunink. The applicants for the special event permit are Forrest Hunink and Kendall Batson of the Gulch Roots Movement. The lot is approximately 10 acres in size, zoned O open, and the residence is currently served by a well and septic system with access from North Highway 287. The event proposes to use temporary potable water tanks and portable restrooms to service the event. This image shows a more zoomed out view of the property and its location relative to the Wyoming border, which is just north of the subject property. It's also located approximately 40 minutes from north of Fort Collins. The surrounding properties are zoned O open within Larimer County and RR, which is rural residential on the Albany County, Wyoming side. These lands are primarily agricultural, residential, or vacant. The applicant submitted an application on May 13th, 2024 for a 4-day music and art festival with a total estimated attendance of 375 ticketed attendees, vendors, and staff volunteers, as well as parking for up to 375 vehicles, tent camping sites, 1 live music stage, the use of an existing garage for an art gallery space, portable restrooms and hand washing stations, food trucks, a community kitchen area, vending by local companies, and educational and wellness workshops. The event does not include any alcohol service, so no liquor license is required, and the full schedule and details of the event can be found in the permit application, which is an attachment A of the related staff report. This is the proposed site plan provided by the applicant. As you can see, to the north of the site, they're proposing to use the existing access from North Highway 287 with internal movement within the site. The existing residential building is found at the north of the plan, with the parking indicated in blue in 3 areas and tent and car camping in the hatched purple and orange areas. The music stage is located to the south of the property. I did add some photos of the site to give you a better idea of its location. This is the view from the property from the highway pullout with the colorful Colorado sign, if you're familiar with that location right at the border, which is just slightly to the north of the subject property. And this is a view of the subject property from the south with the garage located to the left-hand side of your screen, again on a highway pullout just south of the site. Notice was provided via first-class mail to surrounding property owners within 500 feet within Larimer County, and notice was also posted in the officially designated area of the Larimer County Courthouse offices no less than 24 hours in advance of the hearing. We did receive 6 written comments from members of the public, primarily related to concerns with noise, traffic, emergency services, and fire hazards. And we also provided notice of the special event permit application to a fairly long list of referral agencies, which are shown on the screen here and in your application packet. To approve a special events permit, the director or the county commissioners must consider the following review criteria and find that each criterion has been met or determined to be inapplicable per Article 7 of the Larimer County Land Use Code. So in this case, I would focus on a couple of the specific criteria, including that the special event will result in no substantial adverse impact on other properties in the vicinity, that the applicant has demonstrated that the special event has addressed the recommendations of the referral agencies, and that it can comply with the applicable performance standards as set out in our subsection 7.7 performance standards of Article 7. The review criteria continue, so there's a couple slides of this one. And then the Development Services team found that the event does not currently comply with all sections of Article 7 as initially proposed. As a result, we've proposed 35 conditions of approval, which we've recommended so that the event could be held in a way that meets the code requirements. These proposed conditions help to alleviate questions and concerns brought up by various referral agencies as well as neighbor comments during the review and address items such as emergency services, noise, traffic, water and restroom facilities, food vendor licensing, and parking. Staff does find that the proposed event can be compatible with existing and allowed uses in the surrounding area and will result in no substantial adverse impact on the properties in the vicinity, including environmentally sensitive areas or features or other lands, if the event complies with all recommended conditions of approval. Therefore, the Development Services team recommends that the Board of County Commissioners approve Gulch Fest Special Event Permit, file number 24-SP Event 0053, subject to 35 conditions. I have a number of slides including the conditions, so I'm not going to go through them in great detail. They are the same as what is in your agenda packet. However, I have grouped them based on the referral agency or the neighbor comments that sort of created the condition. So conditions 1 through 5 are primarily related to land use code, noise ordinance, or health comments. Conditions 6 through 15 are primarily related to health comments, specifically around water and wastewater, food and sanitation. Conditions 16 through 18 are primarily related to health comments, as well as Colorado Parks and Wildlife comments around being bear aware and ensuring that garbage is appropriately disposed of. Conditions 19 through 22 are directly related to building department requirements or requirements of the building code. Conditions 23 and 24 are related to additional information requested by planning staff. Conditions 25 through 29 are related to engineering, CDOT, and Colorado State Patrol requirements. Condition 30 was requested by a number of referral agencies, including the Livermore Fire Protection District, Larimer County Sheriff's Office, neighbor comments, and Colorado State Patrol, given the distance between the event and available emergency services. Condition 31 was also included in order to address concerns from Larimer County Emergency Services, flood and building departments, as well as Colorado State Patrol, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, Larimer County Sheriff's Office, and the Livermore Fire Protection District. So this is sort of a list of concerns that were brought up that was sort of culminated in one condition that we thought could be addressed through a safety plan. Conditions 32 through 34 address comments from Livermore Fire Protection District and neighbor comments around fire risk. And condition 35 was to help address neighbor concerns in general. So with that, I think that's the conclusion of my presentation, aside from the suggested motions. If you have any questions of staff, we're happy to help answer those questions.
Thank you, Cassidy. Any questions for Cassidy before?
Not at this time. I hope I can ask some questions later.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so we will move on to the applicants then. I don't have any questions, and we'll probably ask questions later, but please come up, and you would have 10 minutes to deliver your, it sounds like maybe you don't have a presentation, but you have something written.
Hi, my name is Haley Nolan, and
I'm Hannah Carlson.
so we just had something that we wanted to read. So, Gulch Fest started years ago on Hannah's small farm in Greeley, Colorado. I remember when I was first invited to the community gathering that was at the time called Full Moon Fire Fest. It took place in 2018 in her family's horse corral adjacent to a large garden that was Hannah's passion project as a recent horticultural graduate from CSU. The event had live music of a variety of genres, live art, and garden tours that helped guests gain appreciation for the hard work that goes into sustainable and organic farming. In the years following, we found a home on the property down the road in a gulch that allowed for a more immersive camping event. We spent many days and long hours physically manicuring the land to create campsites. We built a stage, and our event grew with the hard work of our crew that has become our family. Our event, now called Gulch Fest, aimed to create a community where everyone belongs, where we can gather and share and enjoy our unique gifts and let loose. We showcase our community's talents, from sustainable vendors to incredibly talented musicians, and from this we have created lifelong friendships and true community. We promote sobriety by offering alcohol-free drinks in our tea tent throughout the entire event. We place a large emphasis on sustainability and conservation. We have always had a green team and adopted a leave no trace mentality. Many of us in the community have careers in sustainability and science, and we try to bring this education to our larger community at this festival. For example, I'm a researcher in entomology, and we have had workshops about pollinator conservation, research, botany, and of course, a staple has always been a tour of Hannah's garden. We aim to respect any land that we're on, and that is very important to us. Our festival's roots are humble. Our motto is, "It is what we make it," and that couldn't be more true. From turning a field of massive weeds into a beautiful sanctuary, to countless volunteer work days, to build stages and chill spots, to all of the many talented humans who came together to offer their crafts, it can't get more grassroots than that. It was unfortunate when we sadly lost the opportunity to host the gathering on the original sacred Gulch land due to a family rivalry. We were not kicked out of Weld County, it was just a family dispute. But we realized that what we had built was not just the location. What we have is a thriving, loving community, and we aim to keep that alive. When offered to use the land at Virginia Dale, we thought it to be an incredible opportunity, and we wanted to be respectful to the landowners and surrounding community by going through all of the necessary steps to host this as a permitted event. This has been our first experience with an official permit application, and it was presented to us as a fairly simple and streamlined process. We worked as a group to think about all of the requirements and do what we could to fulfill those. When looking at Article 7 of the Land Use Code for special events, the process seemed feasible, even though admittedly none of us have experience with professionally running events, and we all have our own careers and passions outside of the community event that we put on once a year in the name of gathering for human connection through music, art, and education. We worked with agencies in this committee to guarantee that we could host this event without adverse effects on the land, surrounding properties, or health and safety of our attendees. We turned in our application to receive additional feedback on conditions for approval that we should consider to go through with this event. We fully understand these conditions and aimed to fulfill those as well as concerns raised by neighbors to make it possible. We planned on having an RN on site, a medical tent, a stage that complied with regulations after creating a more detailed wind plan, an emergency weather plan. We're going to let our attendees know about the rules of no open fires, which is why we have planned the event for a warmer month. We're going to uphold our values of sobriety by not selling alcohol and creating a sober space and serve non-alcoholic drinks and tea. And we were going to ensure that there would be no trespassing on adjacent properties with signs and lighting and make those rules very clear. We wanted to keep our passion project alive and gather as a community while minimizing impact on our neighbors. We admittedly did experience some issues in the permit process. Our updated application seemed to get lost in the process, and our rough draft application seemed to be the one that was sent out to agencies and neighbors. The number of 500 attendees kept coming up instead of our proposed 375, as well as the less thorough version of our mitigation plans. And this resulted in more conditions for approval with limited time to fulfill them. The inconsistency of what we had been led on to be a much simpler process was unclear to us for some weeks, and at this point we just don't have the time or money to fulfill this. Ideally, we would have loved to fulfill all of these conditions, but we are a grassroots event and financially it became unfeasible. We make all of our money through donations, and we're hoping to make a lot with ticket sales. None of us have money laying around to pour into the process before the event, and with limited time and most of our energy going into this application process, instead of fundraising and looking for sponsorships, we just don't have financially what it takes to accommodate these requests, such as renting an ambulance for the whole weekend, renting CDOT approved signs, professional traffic control, a more expensive stage than we had originally planned, more porta potties, bear-proof dumpsters, on top of paying for bands and production. We do understand the importance of these regulations with the event being held so close to Highway 287, and the concerns are very valid. We truly wanted to make it happen while upholding these regulations. However, after talking as a group, we have come to the unfortunate conclusion that finances would hold us back from going forward with the event. We want to thank you all for your time, and we have learned a lot about the process of holding a permanent event. In order to continue with our passion, we must take this into account earlier in future years or downsize our plans. I just want to thank you all for helping us with this process, and I'm sorry to have wasted your time today. We actually had a fundraiser event over the weekend, and we were hoping to make more money to contribute to these requests, and the fundraiser event just wasn't as fruitful as we had hoped. And that was on Saturday, so we didn't really have time to let anyone know before today, but we wanted to at least come and give this speech. So thank you.
Thank you. So you're withdrawing your application, is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no need to go through any further hearing, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, if this is, it sounds like they've kind of stated that they'd like to, withdraw for this year, but maybe consider the event for future years in a different.
Yeah, I think with only a month, trying to raise the money for it and fulfill everything, I think we now know the process for future years. So
It's been a huge learning experience. So, yeah, thank you all very much.
Well, thank you. I just want to thank you for coming forward with that, and I appreciate, your thinking about this thoughtfully, that you can't implement it, because, we did have some concerns, but, you know, I appreciate you being responsible in saying we can't meet this, and so we're withdrawing the application, because I think that's a very responsible thing to do. There are a lot of requirements because of the nature of where this is located, and you heard some of the concerns. So, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't happen again in some other iteration. But we would, and I can't say for sure that, anything would, be approved, but at least you have some idea now of what it would take to make that happen. And a lot of these are just safety concerns that we really want people to abide by and make sure that everybody's safe. And it sounds like that's what you want as well. So Commissioner Shackman, I don't know if you have any comments before we close out here.
No, I can't really speak to the process and just don't want to comment too much on what conditions should or should not be, because it might, if it does come back, I don't want to give any indication of any way I might be thinking. But I do appreciate you coming today and reading your speech, and I'm sure it was very frustrating that your event wasn't fruitful, but we do appreciate the comment. So thank you for understanding that it's a very important process to follow. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Commissioner Stevens, may I
yes.
weigh in with a
Yes,
comment
please.
as well? So I want to also say thank you to the applicants for their kind of cooperation and collaboration through this process. It has been, I know, challenging to navigate our special event permit process. I appreciate the feedback that you've provided about the process, and will certainly give us some suggestions to think about for how we structure that process in our communications. And I want to emphasize that it's we would not consider it wasted time today or working through this. I think a lot of important questions arose, and there's a lot to work through for a lot of different agencies, and it is a new type of event for that area of the county and brought up a lot of really great questions and conversations for the future. And so we do hope that you'll continue to engage us in planning for the future if this event continues.
Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. So, and just to anybody who, I don't think there's anybody in the audience that's a community member, but there may be some online. And just for those listening who came, we won't be having public comment because the application has been withdrawn, but we appreciate the public comments that you did make via email and expressing your concerns, and would encourage you to do so in the future if something else should come up in this area. But you won't need to speak today, and we'll just be able to adjourn here in just a minute. So thank you. So there is no other business, I assume. Are there any other things we need to talk about?
No, there's no other business for today.
All right. Well, at 3:24 then, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.